When you normally go to business angels, or if you normally go to VCs, they all talk about wise capital. Unfortunately, I don't see it that often, of two reasons. Either because they simply do not have the time, they are involved in too many investments and there's no way, and their admin systems are terrible, so they have to have so much reporting, so they're spending the time wrongly. Or, which is actually more often, if you haven't done it yourself, it is really difficult to advise other people. All venture capitalists and also business angels look at that they invest in people. I mean, they truly do not invest in the idea. I know that they're saying that they're investing in the idea and they're analyzing the idea and all this. Of course they are. But it is you. Because if you are great and you're persistent, you will clear all these problems on the way. There was actually an R&D manager at Novozymes before my time, and he said, how do I measure a great project leader, or in this case entrepreneur? And he said, well, I use a thermometer to measure whether he's burning. A challenge in my mind is when I go in and help you do better. So I don't tell you, oh, you did all this wrong and now go home and fix it. No, I say, these areas are difficult, these areas need to improve. I know how to improve them. Shall we try to work on it, how we can do it? So you become a part of the solution, not just a judge that are sort of lifting your finger. And this is what you see in most companies, particularly big companies. They have all these investment boards and all this finger lifting that destroys the innovation in the company. People tend to avoid work, and that's why it's much more pleasant to lean back and criticize instead of offering your help, because every time you're offering, it means that you have to involve yourself. But by involving yourself, you actually become a part of the idea, and this is where the fun starts from all of you. The ideas start sparkling, the concepts start sort of maturing and changing. You become part of this development. You have to work with entrepreneurs in a very delicate way. You have to preserve their energy. And this is where I find that most venture capitalists or business angels not fully appreciate this energy preservation, because these are the guys that have to work 24/7, and most of them are on the brink of collapse, literally, both physically and emotionally. So you as a helper or investor or whatever need to be their sort of safety rope, the safety net that you are covering around them. Then they can work even harder. And this is what we're providing in Venture also, where we want to provide the environment and the solutions for people. I think this is probably one of the more difficult questions that you can get in the entrepreneurial setting, because a great board is a discussion, and has been constantly just a discussion between people about what should we provide. And I think you need to look at it at this is an early startup company. So it's not really an established company. It is a maturing company. It is a company that are changing. So you need to go in and look at it as a project group. And that hurts the board members, because we have just defined them as sort of proud board members. And suddenly I am diminishing them to just normal project leaders or project members. But it is a project group that are working. Yes, I'm the chairman or the board member, and there are some legal requirements that has to be done, yes, and that should be done. And that can be done very quickly in these small companies. What it is time consuming is that you need to be really on your toes to complement the management with the skills they do not have. And that's where my board recommendation comes in, that you need to set aside the normal sort of huge company imagination or picture of a board and replace it with this project group where each of the project members have direct contact to the person in the company with the same skills, or at least supposedly having the same skills. So if I'm, for instance, very good in financing, I would have contact with a bookkeeper or whatever guy that are or girl that are doing the bookkeeping prior and in between the board meetings. If I'm great in R&D, I would then have, of course, contact and assist that person of the same thing. In big companies, you don't like that because, well, you feel that your board is going behind your back. But again, remembering the picture, this is a project group. So the CEO is actually relieved because he has already 300% overloaded by work. So if he can get the board members to go in and directly work in the company and facilitate and work with these people, it is a strong help. First of all, which I've said many years, is I think it's important to underfund companies. I think the problem with overfunding is that you simply just get less for more. You need to be sort of fighting your way, because you have to remember that you are every day using other people's money. You're not generating any money, you're burning the money. And it's amazing what you actually can how longer this period of survival can be if you are really careful with what you invest in. So you have to consider this is your own money, you're not getting any more. You have to make it last as long as possible. At the same time, of course, you have to make sure that you have the right people there. So it is a very delicate balance on when to invest in the right things. So this is what you have to do as a management. Really demonstrate that you carefully maximize the value of what people are investing. That is the first prerequisite for any investment. When people see that, it's so much easier to ask again, because they know they can see, wow, you really made a lot with this, we will come with more. So that's number one in the rule, I think. Secondly, when you then start moving forward, you want, of course, to spread your investors a little bit, so you're not totally dependable on a few investors. And that has an advantage for both parties. The disadvantage of having only one or two investors in your company is that they simply come to a point where, for not business reasons, but for their own pockets reasons, say no. I've seen a few, actually, also even biotech companies go down on this basis, that there was reason to continue, but the owner did simply said stop. Secondly, I find that you always have to make sure that you have new investors coming in. Maybe not big ones, but you always have to have new ones standing there. So the current investors can feel that the company has been validated by others, they are interested in coming in. If it's the same people that are over and over sort of financing it, you start worry about, is the valuation correct? Are we moving enough forward? Is it become sort of a sleeping sort of event for the management just to go and get some more funding? Then you start approaching the IPO, as you asked me about. And that is another tricky one, that people have a tendency to be too greedy in front of an IPO. So they stop investing, or they sort of try to push everything into a fantastic picture, and then they go IPO. And there again, you put all your eggs in one basket and just hope that it will work. And then if it fails, you are actually, the company might even go bankrupt afterwards.